to Track Talk inside Formula One. In today's episode, we dive deep into the exhilarating journey of a motorsport icon, Lewis Hamilton. Strap in as we race through time, exploring the life of this Formula One sensation. Lewis Carl Davidson Hamilton was born on January 7, 1985 in Stevenage, England. Lewis's captivating journey began not on the racetrack, but with a simple radio-controlled car he received at the age of 6. Hamilton finished second in the National British Radio Car Association against adult competition. Sadly, being the only black child racing at this club, Hamilton was subjected to racist abuse. Hamilton's father, Anthony, bought him a go-kart for Christmas when he was 6 and promised to support his racing career as long as he worked hard at school. Hamilton began karting in 1993 and quickly began winning races and cadet class championships. 2 years later, he became the youngest driver to win the British Cadet Karting Championship at the age of 10. That year, Hamilton approached McLaren Formula One team boss Ron Dennis at the Autosport Awards for an autograph. Imagine being 10 years old, standing face to face with the boss of a top F1 team. Most of us would be starstruck, but not young Lewis. With confidence, he approached Ron Dennis, the team principal at McLaren, and declared, "One day, I want to race for you." Dennis, amused, replied, "Call me in 9 years and we'll sort something out." Well, Lewis didn't need 9 years. At just 13, he was signed by McLaren and Mercedes-Benz to the Young Driver Support Program. It was a significant step, a leap from the world of amateur karting to the fringes of professional motorsport. The subsequent years were a blow of acceleration for Lewis. From Formula Renault to Formula 3 and in the GP2 series, Lewis showcased his talent, making it impossible for the racing world to ignore him. After winning the GP2 championship at his first attempt, there was a vacancy at McLaren for the 2007 season following the departure of Juan Pablo Montoya to NASCAR and Kimi Raikkonen to Ferrari. It was already confirmed the two-time world champion Fernando Alonso would race for McLaren, leaving one seat up. After months of speculation on whether Hamilton, Pedro de la Rosa, or Gary Paffett would be paired with defending champion Fernando Alonso for 2007, Hamilton was confirmed as the McLaren's second driver. Hamilton's first season in Formula One saw him partner with two-time and defending world champion Fernando Alonso. On his Formula One debut in the Australian Grand Prix, Hamilton made a brilliant move into the first corner, overtaking Robert Kubica and defending world champion and teammate Fernando Alonso. Hamilton's race was smooth sailing from there, and he even led the race for a few laps. Hamilton finished the race in P3 and stood on the podium on his Formula One debut. This brilliant debut race set the tone for the rest of Hamilton's racing career. After finishing on the podium on his debut, Hamilton went on to set several records as he finished runner-up in the 2007 World Drivers' Championship to right Kimi Raikkonen by 1 point, including those for the most consecutive podium finishes from debut with 9, the joint most wins in a debut season with 4 wins, and the most points in a debut season with 109 points. Throughout the season, Hamilton and Alonso were involved in a number of incidents which resulted in tensions between the both drivers and the team. A prime and famous example of these tensions was in the Hungarian Grand Prix during qualifying. Fernando Alonso pulled into the pits to fit new tires for his last quali lap. With Hamilton also pulling in behind, Alonso had to leave the pit box quickly in order for both drivers to make it in time to complete their lap. In an attempt to snub Hamilton, Alonso stayed in his box for an extra 10 seconds. Alonso was just barely able to complete his quali lap, but left Hamilton with no time to get a lap going. This resulted in Alonso earning pole, but after an investigation by the stewards and a verdict delivered at midnight local time, Alonso was handed a 5-place grid penalty. Serves him right. Hamilton then was promoted to pole and went on to win the Hungarian Grand Prix. These tensions resulted in Alonso and McLaren terminating the contract by a mutual consent in November. Hamilton's success continued in 2008 as he amassed 5 victories and 10 podium finishes. As the season reached its conclusion in Brazil, it became clear a two-way fight for the title between the home favorite Felipe Massa and a young Briton. Hamilton won his first title in dramatic fashion in the last race of the season, the 2008 Brazilian Grand Prix, overtaking Timo Glock for P5 in the final corners of the last lap to become the then youngest Formula One world champion in history and to deny race winner Massa the title by 1 point. This made Hamilton the first British driver to win the World Championship since Damon Hill in 1996. In his final 4 years with McLaren, Hamilton consistently secured podium finishes and race victories. In 2010, he entered the final round with a shot at the championship but finished 4th with Sebastian Vettel clinching his first title. 2011 saw Hamilton face professional challenges, being outscored by teammate Jenson Button and finishing 5th overall. In 2012, he notched up 4 race wins, ending the season 4th. Making waves in the motorsport world, he revealed his move to Mercedes in 2013, stepping in for the retiring legendary Michael Schumacher. Upon signing with Mercedes in 2013, Hamilton was reunited with his childhood karting teammate Nico Rosberg. In his first season with the Silver Arrows, Hamilton secured a sole race victory, winning the Hungarian Grand Prix, where he converted an unexpected pole position into a winning margin of over 11 seconds ahead of second-place finisher Kimi Räikkönen. Changes to regulations for the 2014 season, which mandated the use of turbo-hybrid engines, contributed to the start of a highly successful era for Hamilton. That year saw Mercedes win 16 of the 19 races that season, 11 of those secured by Hamilton as he prevailed in the season-long deal for the title against teammate Rosberg, clinching his second driver's title and eclipsing the victory tally of all British drivers before him. Hamilton shared his excitement and his gratitude for the team over the team radio after his final race in Abu Dhabi.
World champion! Oh my god! I can't believe it! Thank you so much, guys!
Hamilton dominated the 2015 season, winning 10 races, finishing on the podium a record 17 times as he matched his hero Ayrton Senna's 3 World Championship titles. The rivalry between him and Rosberg intensified, climaxing in a heated battle at the US Grand Prix where Hamilton won in an action-packed wheel-to-wheel battle with his teammate to clinch the title with 3 races to spare. That year, Hamilton extended his contract with Mercedes for 3 additional years in a deal reportedly worth more than £100 million, making him one of the best-paid drivers in Formula 1. In 2016, Hamilton recorded more poles and wins than any other driver, but lost the title to teammate Rosberg by 5 points. The intense rivalry saw numerous clashes on the track, with a notable incident in Spain taking both drivers out of the race. Hamilton's strategic move in the Abu Dhabi final, where he initially slowed down to try and push Rosberg into the chasing pack, was a highlight of the season-long duel. Since Hamilton faced challenges like poor starts and an engine failure in Malaysia, Rosberg was able to clinch the championship. At the FIA prize-giving ceremony, Rosberg stunned the world by retiring right after surpassing Hamilton. Following Rosberg's retirement, Ferrari's Sebastian Vettel became Hamilton's closest rival as the pair exchanged the championship lead throughout the 17 in a tense. Following Rosberg's retirement, Ferrari's Sebastian Vettel became Hamilton's closest rival as the pair exchanged the championship lead throughout the 2017 in a tense title fight. Hamilton registered 11 pole positions that season as he took the record for all-time most pole positions. He also had a tremendous consistency, finishing every race in the points. All these factors, including the lack of a serious challenge from his new teammate Valtteri Bottas, saw him record 9 race victories and secure his 4th Drivers' World title as he overturned a points deficit to Vettel in the first half of the season, ultimately wrapping up the title in Mexico with 2 races to spare. In 2018, Hamilton and Vettel, both 4-time world champions, rivaled for a 5th title, dubbed the Fight for 5. Initially, Vettel and Ferrari seemed dominant, leading into a mid-season. Yet a series of driver and mechanical errors from Vettel and a stellar performance by Hamilton, winning 6 of the 7 races later in the season, saw Hamilton claim the title in Mexico, setting a record with 408 points. Meanwhile, Hamilton inked a 2-year deal with Mercedes, reportedly worth £40 million annually, making him the highest-paid F1 driver ever. In 2019, Hamilton led the driver standings for the majority of the season, fending off title challenges from teammate Bottas, the Honda-powered Red Bull of Verstappen and Ferrari's recently promoted Leclerc, to clinch his 6th driver's crown at the 2019 United States Grand Prix with 2 races remaining. After scoring his 6th career Grand Slam in the final race of the season, Hamilton ended the season with 11 wins, 17 podiums, and 5 pole positions. His total of 413 points for the season was a new all-time record, seeing the Briton finish 87 points clear of second-place Bottas. What a dominant season. Hamilton won his 7th driver's title in 2022, equaling the record set by Schumacher in a season heavily impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Over the shortened 17-race season, Hamilton took 11 wins, including one in Portugal, to break Schumacher's record of 91 wins. He also took 14 podiums and 10 pole positions. Hamilton clinched the title at the 2020 Turkish Grand Prix with 3 rounds to spare. Hamilton shared an inspirational message over the team radio as he was flooded with emotion after winning his 7th World Championship.
As for all the kids out there who dream the impossible, you can do it too, man. I believe in you guys. Thank you so much, everyone, for your support.
Hamilton ended the season 124 points clear of his teammate Bottas, who finished second in the standings, completing yet another dominant season. In 2021, Hamilton and Red Bull's Max Verstappen became the key title contenders. Their intense rivalry witnessed regular lead changes and on-track clashes. One notable moment was when Verstappen's car was flung over Hamilton's when battling into Turn 1 at Monza. This incident ultimately took both drivers out of the race. The climax of the title fight between the drivers was in Abu Dhabi, where they started level on points. Verstappen overtook Hamilton on the last lap, preventing him from winning an 8th title. That season, Hamilton set records by surpassing 100 pole positions and 100 race wins. The Abu Dhabi finale stirred controversy due to race director Michael Masi's decision regarding the safety car. This controversial choice erased the gap between the two, favoring Verstappen, who was on fresher tires. After the race, the FIA launched an investigation. The outcome resulted in Masi's removal, but the race's result remained unchanged, which to me seems totally unfair. Hamilton was partnered by George Russell for the 2022 season in place of departing Bottas. The season saw significant changes in technical regulations which sought to utilize ground effect to generate downforce. During preseason testing in Bahrain, Mercedes introduced its zero side pod car design, which was radically different to that of its competitors. The Mercedes W13 suffered with extreme porpoising early in the season, which limited the car's potential. By the end of the season, Hamilton achieved 9 podiums but failed to achieve a race win or pole position in a season for the first time in his Formula 1 career. He finished in 6th place in the Drivers' Championship, 35 points behind Russell, who finished 4th, but Hamilton managed to qualify on higher grid positions and scored more podium finishes than Russell. Mercedes started the 2020 season with concerns over their competitiveness, with Hamilton saying they were not where they wanted to be after preseason testing. He finished 5th in the opening race in Bahrain, over 50 seconds behind the winner Verstappen. Hamilton achieved his first podium of the season in Australia to extend his own record. After back-to-back podiums finishes in Spain and Canada, he fought from 7th on the grid to take 3rd place at his home race at Silverstone. At the 2023 Hungarian Grand Prix, Hamilton qualified .003 seconds in front of Verstappen to take his 104th record-breaking pole position and his first since 2021. On August 31st, 2023, the day before the first practice session of the 2023 Italian Grand Prix, Hamilton signed a 2-year contract to remain with Mercedes through the 2025 season. In an interview, Hamilton admitted that he will not retire until he gets an 8th World Championship. I, for one, am really excited for the potential to see Lewis Hamilton win a record-breaking 8th World Championship. Outside the racetracks, Lewis Hamilton stands as a beacon for change and diverse interests. He's a firm advocate for diversity, exemplified by his establishment of the Hamilton Commission, aimed at boosting diversity in British motorsport. Lewis's flair for fashion has led him to global fashion weeks in a collaboration with Tommy Hilfiger. His commitment to racial equality is further highlighted by his active support for the Black Lives Matter movement, evident in his symbolic gestures like taking a knee during the 2020 F1 season. Lewis Hamilton's legendary record-breaking career still continues as he continues to hunt down his record-breaking 8th World Championship. That's all for today, and thank you for joining me at Track Talk inside Formula 1. Until next time, keep your engines revving, and remember, like Hamilton often demonstrates, the race isn't just about the finish line, it's about the journey, the challenges, and the growth along the way. Stay safe and tune in until our next episode.